first applicant for a CO2 pipeline in South Dakota has learned their fate following a decision by the Public Utilities Commission in Pierre. IT reporter Beth Warden followed the process from the beginning and has our top story at this hour. Hey, Beth.
Hi there, Sam. Navigator filed for an application for their Heartland Greenway CO2 pipeline September of last year. After many meetings, interventions, filed paperwork, the decision was unanimous by the PUC today. Their application was denied. The process began with legal filings, meetings with landowners, and requests to purchase property for the pipeline. Landowners we spoke to showed us a letter of introduction that also included mentions of eminent domain. Last month, PUC meetings that took the nature of a court proceeding wrapped up the application process. After a year of silence from the commissioners while they gathered information and listened to all of the participants, it was time for them to speak. Each commissioner was only to take 10 minutes, but some went well beyond that limit as they spoke of a lack of cooperation from Navigator Pipeline to provide answers for certain documents, ultimately culminating in each commissioner deciding that Navigator did not satisfy the burden of proof.
Think of the daily mindset of landowners. Is there a leak? Will I know? How can I protect my family?
So CO2 can incapacitate and kill humans and animal life without warning. Unlike the natural gas and propane pipeline companies, Navigator is not a utility.
Perhaps most telling to me are the percentage of landowners who have made conscious decisions to say no thank you to the money offered for this easement because they're not willing to trade their welfare for dollars and cents.
Now, because Navigator could exercise their options to appeal or reapply, the commissioners will not be commenting on the application until the docket is closed, which could be at least at the earliest several months. Sam?
Beth Warden for us this afternoon.